Hello, 6th grade math students. This is chapter 7.5, Real World Problems with Algebraic Expressions. We'll wrap up our study of algebraic expressions by applying everything we've learned to solving some word problems. Let's begin. Let's begin today by learning to write addition and subtraction expressions to solve word problems. This figure shows a triangle, A, B, C. There are three parts to this question. In part A, we're asked to find the perimeter of triangle ABC in terms of S. Okay, so let's begin by writing the perimeter in terms of S. So perimeter is the sum of all of the sides. So let's begin with this side, S centimeters, plus this side, S centimeters, plus this side, 10 centimeters. Once we simplify, this becomes 2S plus 10 centimeters. This works almost exactly like the simplifying problems that we did earlier in chapter 7. Now let's go on to question B. In question B, we're told that the perimeter of a trapezoid is 7 centimeters shorter than the perimeter of triangle ABC. So find the perimeter of the trapezoid. Okay, if the perimeter is 7 centimeters shorter than the perimeter we have here, we'd begin by writing 2S plus 10, and then we would subtract 7 centimeters. And that should give us the perimeter of our trapezoid. So let's solve. Our 2S remains the same, and then we have 10 minus 7, leaving us with 3. So the perimeter of the trapezoid is 2S plus 3, oops, I forgot my centimeters. 2S plus 3 centimeters. Finally, question C tells us that S equals 7, and then asks us to find the perimeter of the triangle ABC. So if S equals 7, we simply need to substitute that into our perimeter equation here, 2S plus 10. So let's make our substitution, 2 times 7 plus 10. That's going to equal 14 plus 10, or, sorry, we ran out of room here, 24 centimeters. So the perimeter of triangle ABC is 24 centimeters if S equals 7. Okay, this feels pretty straightforward to me, so let's dive right into a practice problem for you to try. Here's your first practice problem for 7.5. Raul is Y years old. Kayla is 6 years older than Raul, and Isaac is 4 years younger than Raul. Part A asks, how old is Kayla in terms of Y? B asks, how old is Isaac in terms of Y? And finally, C asks, if Y is equal to 12, what is the sum of Raul's age plus Isaac's age? Press pause while you work, and when you come back, we'll work with multiplication and division. Our next sample problem requires us to use multiplication and division to evaluate an algebraic expression. So we begin with this statement. A car uses 1 gallon of gas for every 25 miles traveled. So our unit rate would be 25 miles per gallon. So question A asks, how far can the car travel on W gallons of gas? So if 1 gallon, lets us go 25 miles, how can we calculate how far we can go on W gallons of gas? Start by thinking about it with a number. Let's say we wanted to figure out how far we could go on, let's say, 2 gallons of gas. So to solve for 2 gallons, we would simply multiply each side by 2, right? Because we'd need 2 gallons. And to keep our equation balanced, we'd multiply on both sides, right? we could go 50 miles. Okay, so we can do the same thing using our variable. We're going to multiply both sides by W. So we'll take W times 1 gallon and 25 miles times W, giving us W gallons, not W gal, W gallons, and 25 W miles. So our answer for question A is the car can travel 25 W miles on W gallons of gas. Okay, let's go on to part B. Part B asks, how much gas is used to travel 5 W miles? Then we're asked to evaluate if W equals 72. So let's begin by figuring out how much gas we use to go 5 W miles. Once again, we begin with our statement, 25 miles equals 1 gallon. Our first step for this problem is to figure out how much gas is used per mile. So to figure out how far we're traveling in 1 mile, or how much gas we're using in 1 mile, we need to divide each side by 25. So in 1 mile, we use 1/25 of a gallon of gas. Now, let's calculate how much gas we're using when we go 5 miles. And to do that, we're going to multiply both sides by 5 W miles. Which will give us a final answer of 5W over 25 gallons. So our answer for part B is when we travel 5W miles, we use 5W over 25 gallons of gas. So next step, we need to evaluate if W equals 72. And excuse me just a second while I clear some space for us so we can do that. Okay, so to refresh, in 5W miles, we used 5W over 25 gallons of gas. Now we simply need to substitute in 72. So this becomes 5 times 72 over 25. And let's go ahead and multiply and then divide. 5 times 72 gives us 360 over 25. 360 divided by 25 is 14.4. And yes, indeed, I did use my calculator to do that. So when W equals 72 miles, we use 14.4 gallons of gas. Here is practice problem 2 for this section. A truck uses 1 gallon of gas for every 14 miles traveled. So, how far can the truck go on 3p gallons of gas? And how many gallons of gas have been used if the truck has traveled v miles? Once you've calculated that, evaluate when v equals 56. Press pause while you work, and when you come back, we'll look at our last practice problem for Chapter 7.5. Our last sample problem asks us to use several different operations to evaluate an algebraic expression. Problems like this are just really fun logic problems. We just happen to use algebra to record our answers. So here we go. Jillian thinks of a number y. She multiplies by 3 and then subtracts 9 from the product. What is her answer? After we've created our expression, evaluate that expression when y equals 12. Okay, so we start with y. This is Jillian's number. She's going to multiply y by 3, and that will give us 3y. Then Jillian subtracts 9 from the product, giving us 3y minus 9. So what is Jillian's answer? Jillian's answer is 3y minus 9. Now, let's evaluate if y equals 12. So to evaluate, all we have to do is substitute in 12 for y, which will give us 3 times 12, which equals 36, minus 9, giving us a final answer of 27. See, it's really just a logic problem. Let's go on and work one of these on your own, and that will close out Chapter 7.5 and Chapter 7 for us. Here's your last practice problem for Chapter 7.5. It's another one of these really fun logic problems. There were 3 questions on a math test. Salma earned M points for the first question and twice that many points for the second question. Part A asks, how many points did she earn for the first 2 questions? Part B asks, if she received 25 points total on the test, how many points did she earn on number 3? There is a Part C, but it doesn't fit on this screen. So please press pause, work parts A and B, and when you're ready for Part C, go on to the next screen. And here's Part C. If M equals 5, find the points earned for each question. This problem's a little tricky, but I know you're really smart, so I have faith that you're going to figure it out. If you get stuck, though, don't worry, we'll go over it tomorrow together. When I see you tomorrow, we'll do lots more practice solving word problems with algebraic expressions and close out this first half of our 6th grade algebra unit. Thanks for your hard work, and I will see you tomorrow.